Okay, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating and honestly kind of counterintuitive perspective on spiritual growth from Master Osman. Osman is an advanced yoga and meditation teacher with about 50 years of experience. And it's important to note he's been permanently blind since May 2023, which means his incredibly deep understanding of energy is drawn entirely from memory and this really profound internal practice. What he reveals is that advancing in yoga actually completely rewires how your body reacts to everyday substances. So we're talking about a paradox here, where becoming more spiritually elevated might literally make you physically more vulnerable. Crazy, right? To kick things off, check out this wild quote from Osman. He says, "Just get advanced in yoga and meditation. Have a slice of onion." He's literally talking about the sensation of getting completely rolling drunk off a simple salad garnish. I know it sounds totally absurd at first, but this actually hints at a massive biological and energetic shift that happens in the bodies of advanced practitioners. It completely flips our whole understanding of what it even means to be intoxicated. But before we get to the onions, and we need to establish our baseline. The traditional definition of an intoxicant is, a substance like alcohol or tobacco that drastically alters your mood, behavior, or physical health. If you talk to almost any yoga or meditation teacher out there, Osman actually estimates about 99.99% of them, they strictly forbid these. A lot of them even ban mild stimulants like tea and coffee. The rule is almost always zero tolerance. Now, Osman brings a really unique lens to all of this. He's a master-level energy healer specializing in critical care, and he approaches healing using quantum entanglement principles. The guy actually achieved his first samadhi experience by the age of 19. You can check out his work, which includes a free 5-minute yoga and meditation program over at yogawellness786.com. Now, he does include a clear disclaimer. His natural therapies, which are designed to boost immunity by replenishing natural energies, are meant to complement, not replace, licensed medical treatment. Basically, he approaches yoga not just as some abstract philosophy, but as a hard science of the body's energy systems. All right, moving into section 1, the intoxicant dilemma, or to drink or not to drink. So the crucial point we need to start with is that classic question, basing pretty much anyone on a spiritual path. Can you pursue deep spiritual growth and still, enjoy a drink at a party? Is it really as black and white as people say? Well, here are the opposing forces at play according to this framework. Just imagine your baseline life force is at point zero. Yoga and meditation are explicitly designed to elevate your consciousness, pulling that energy up through the 7 higher chakras along your spine. But alcohol, it does the exact opposite. It dampens that energy. Depending on how much you drink, it literally drops your life force 1 or 2 levels down into the lower chakras. So sure, you might feel amazing in the moment, but energetically, you're pulling yourself in the exact opposite direction of your meditation goals. It's kind of like trying to climb a ladder while tying heavy weights to your ankles. That brings us to section 2, alcohol and consciousness, the gravity of spirits. Let's see how this actually applies to real-world practice, because Osman isn't just speaking theoretically here. He actually lived this out. Before quitting entirely about 19 years ago, he consumed alcohol on an almost daily basis for 21 years. He actually describes himself as a former heavy party animal who could down a bottle or 2 of whiskey, recover the very next day, and just keep going. Yet despite that pretty wild past, he notes he's still made significant spiritual progress, even hitting advanced states like samadhi. Interestingly, he points to teachings from a highly advanced yogi, Satguru Savaya Subramanya Swami, to show that moderate drinking doesn't necessarily have to ruin your progress. Look at these principles. Drink socially, not alone. Limit it to 1 or 2 glasses of wine or maybe a couple pints of beer. Always consume with or after meals, never on an empty stomach. And most importantly, avoid making it a daily crutch. If you can maintain that control and maybe only occasionally let loose at a party, your yoga progress won't be substantially derailed. So, okay, if moderate alcohol is somewhat manageable, we have to ask a much deeper question. What exactly does the physical practice of yoga do to your body's defenses over time? How does it actually change the physical hardware of your body? Let's explore that in section 3, the sensitivity paradox, and what Osman refers to as the child's lungs. Honestly, this is where the explainer takes a turn into some truly fascinating territory regarding toxins and specifically cigarette smoke. Think about the comparison here. An average adult body is hardened, right? Over the years, it builds up this robust resistance to mild toxins. It can handle a bit of secondhand smoke or a lousy diet without immediately shutting down. But an advanced yogi's body, Yoga actively renews and rejuvenates your internal systems. Your organs, and particularly your lungs, become highly sensitive again. Osman actually likens it to having the lungs of a 3-year-old child. So while smoking itself might not stop your spiritual elevation, the physical damage it inflicts on this highly sensitized, rejuvenated body is massively magnified. The toxins just hit you significantly harder. And guys, this isn't just some abstract theory. In Section 4, The Danger of Rejuvenation, the source material points to a really tragic historical example that perfectly demonstrates the very real danger of this heightened bodily sensitivity. Let's quickly walk through this timeline. Back in the late 1800s, there was this incredibly advanced spiritual teacher named Ramakrishna. He was so elevated, he could literally initiate people into out-of-body experiences just by touching them. His student, Swami Vivekananda, famously brought these yoga sciences to the West in the early 1900s. But Ramakrishna had a habit. He loved smoking a pipe. And because his body was in that hypersensitive, advanced yogic state, he tragically contracted and suffered from throat cancer. His rejuvenated, childlike body simply couldn't handle the harsh toxins of the tobacco. It's a really extreme case for sure, but it serves as a profound warning. Which naturally leads us to a super fascinating transition. Think about it. If harsh toxins like smoke are magnified that much by spiritual progress, what on earth happens when an advanced practitioner eats regular, seemingly healthy, everyday foods? This brings us to Section 5, the garlic and onion effect, or as I like to call it, the grocery store intoxicants. This is where Osman's framework gets truly mind-bending, because we're shifting our focus straight from the bar and the smoking lounge right into the produce aisle. Traditional yoga often forbids onions and garlic, and before Osman reached those advanced levels himself, he always wondered why. I mean, they're just vegetables pulled from the ground, right? But he notes that now, if he eats his absolute favorite meal, spinach cooked with heavy garlic, it hits him like a literal overdose of sleeping pills. He's forced to sleep for 2 to 3 hours just to function again, and even wilder, a single slice of raw onion in a salad makes him feel completely drunk. We're talking the equivalent of slamming 3 or 4 double whiskeys, and that feeling lasts for 6 to 8 hours. I mean, it's an incredibly cheap way to get drunk, sure, but imagine trying to meditate or even just work when a tiny piece of onion has literally intoxicated you for the entire workday? No way. So the absolutely crucial point here is that we have to completely redefine our earlier term. According to Osman's advanced view, an intoxicant isn't just alcohol or tobacco anymore. For a highly sensitized yogi, an intoxicant is literally any substance that drastically alters your physical state or consciousness. Everyday roots like onions and garlic basically drug the advanced body. They pull your consciousness down and make meditation pretty much impossible. All right, let's wrap this up with our key takeaways from this explainer. First off, yoga isn't just a mental exercise. It aggressively rejuvenates your physical body, ultimately giving you the highly sensitive organs of a child. Second, alcohol acts as a heavy gravitational pull downward on your consciousness, although, as we saw, moderate use isn't necessarily an absolute deal breaker. Third, and most surprisingly, as you advance, the definition of an intoxicant expands massively to include everyday foods like garlic and onions. Ultimately, Osman frames all of this not as some rigid, punishing dogma, but really as a scientific approach to life. It's about paying deep, close attention to how your body's energy and immunity physically transform as you advance. I want to leave you with this provocative question to really chew on. As you grow, and as your mind and body become more refined and sensitive to the world around you, what seemingly harmless everyday habit in your own life might actually be acting as a hidden weight holding you back? Just think about that as you continue on your own wellness journey. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.